Hello, all my crafty people out there. It is time for our weekly project. If you have not been here before, my name is Stephanie and I upcycle clothing. Generally things I thrift from my local stores, sometimes estate sales. And today I have picked up a vest. Now I paid $2.99 for this at American Thrift. It's nothing fancy. Obviously it doesn't go with this dress. But it's just a little denim vest. It does fit, but it's snug. And I'm going to be changing the buttons out because that's something we do. But it's got this ruching, almost like gathers on each side and in the back. And I'm not super keen on it. So I think I'm going to be changing that out. I'm not going to be cutting anything up necessarily. We're going to be adding. So we're going to use some lace. If you want to see how this comes out, by all means, follow along, subscribe, like, let me know what you think, and I'll catch y'all at the table. Okay, everybody, this is the vest we're going to be working with. It's a little Cato's vest. It's denim. It's a light denim. It's not chambray, but it's light. And it's not lined, so it's not super fancy. But you can see that ruching right there on the both sides and on the back. Now, it's a little snug, but it's not snug enough for me to say add any fabric to it. That's not really what I'm going for here. If you needed to add fabric, I have another video where I've added it to the back in like a V, but you could also open up your side seams and do that as well. I'm not, again, looking to do that. And I think what I'm going to do to accommodate the little bit of room I need is I'm just going, when I replace these buttons, I'm just going to move them over. Probably about a 1/2 inch. They've got plenty of room there. So I'm going to move them over, and that should give me the space that I need. It's just not enough to add fabric to, but moving buttons, yeah, I'm all about that. Now for the lace, I have cut these strips out of an old lace dress that I have, that y'all saw in the beginning. And these are 1-inch strips. I just cut them with the rotary cutter. Nothing fancy. Y'all can see it's not a super fancy lace. It does have a right side and a wrong side. But I have plenty of strips to do what I want to do. And what I want to do, I'm going to kind of give you an idea, is I want to take, here, let's look at it from the back. That's bigger anyway. I want to take and make a lacing. Now this lacing could also be another way to size things. If you have a vest that's a little too big, you could do this lacing and cinch it up without having to change anything drastic either. But what I want to do is I want to lace this down the back and down both the front sides. Now, obviously, it doesn't look good there, but I need something to lace it with. I have had the worst trouble finding eyelets that I could get in this without having to take it apart. The 1/4-inch eyelets have just been near to impossible to find. So, my second idea was to take ribbon and make little holding spots. Not buttons, I don't know what you call that. Not pleats, cleats, I don't know what you call it. But we're going to hold our ribbon or our lace down with 2-inch pieces of velvet ribbon. Now, I had these two colors that I really liked with this, but I thought this one just kind of faded in a little too much. So we're going to go with this dusty pink, and trust me, not a dusty pink fan, but I'm digging this color with the lace and this dark, almost black denim. So to get started, again, I've already cut these strips. We're going to cut our 2-inch pieces of velvet. And then we're going to start sewing them onto our vest. And we'll see how it goes. And we're going to change the buttons too. I've got these. They're not fancy, but if you can kind of see them in the light, they have a kind of like a lacy look to them in the background, the way that they're printed. So they're solid white on the back. So I think those are going to work with the lace. Well, the only thing I could find, because I've got limited selections now. So let me go start with my 2-inch pieces of velvet. Okay, it took me a few seconds to get this lined up, but I folded it 4 times, or in 4s, gave me an opportunity to cut a lot faster. So this is me cutting 36 of these little 2-inch pieces for our ties. Okay, I cut it. It was 2 yards of ribbon. So 2 yards of ribbon, 2 inches a piece. That gives me 36 pieces. So in the front, I'm going to do 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 eyelet pieces. And then I'll do 16 in the back, obviously, because it's longer. So what I kind of worked out is I'm using this line, this ruching line, which of course you may not have one. You don't have to use it. You could use a seam. You don't even have to use something like that. You can put these anywhere you want. You don't have to put them in the front. You can put them on the sides. But what I'm doing is I'm measuring 2 inches over from that line, that seam, that ruching. I don't know what else I'd call it. Like that. And then I'm going to go down each side, and I'm going to mark 1.5 inches. And then I'll just take this and move this over here 2 inches. Go down. And again, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches in between each of my rivets. But first I got to make sure I've got enough there for all 5. I start here, so say come up like this. I do 1 here, and then 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know why I can't count tonight, y'all. Just not in it. So I do the same thing over here. And then I have, oops, can't see that one really well. So then I'll have where I'm going to place each of my little 2-inch tabs. This is a 2-inch piece of velvet ribbon. So I'm folding it in half. And when I fold it in half, I'm going to put it consistently underneath my line and not even 1/4 inch over the line I drew. Because really all I'm looking to do is catch that piece, and what will happen is when I'm finished, I will roll it over to this side, so it'll look like this. You'll pin it, sew it, and then when you roll it over, it'll be like that, so you can put your lace or ribbon or leather or whatever through that eyelet. Okay? All right, let me get these all pinned on, and then we'll go to the sewing machine. Okay, here I am putting the little tabs in, making sure they line up. Be sure that both sides line up. Take measurements any way you can. You don't want them to be wonky. Well, I don't know. You could go asymmetric, but generally you want them to be even. In this particular design, I did. And then after I've pinned them all on, I'm going to go towards the back, and I am going to draw my line, again, 2 inches away from the ruching seam, and then 1.5 inches between each one of my little tabs. And I started from the bottom. All right, here we are sewing them down, or here I am sewing them down. I was going straight across all the way, but then I started picking up the foot and only sewing the little tabs. It really didn't make a difference one way or the other. It was just something I was trying because If I have to seam rip them, I didn't want that seam to be all the way down, but it turned out okay. Okay, I've got all my eyelets sewn on the sides and the back, and I did one in the front already, but I'm going to show you how I threaded it, or I figured out was the best way. This is the back. This one's the one with 16, and this is the one with 10 in the front. And just a reminder, make sure both your fronts match, because you don't want to be, you know, wonky there. Good old crochet needle, the biggest one I had, which I think is a J. So anyway, I also found that I needed to kind of twist this lace because I wanted a thinner look. If you want a thicker look, go for it. It does not make a difference. You could use something else. You could use, I thought about using this faux leather cording, but it wasn't thick enough. It didn't have enough presence in the process. So maybe if I had made my eyelets smaller or closer, maybe it would have worked, but it just didn't look right to me. So I'm going to stick my needle up into my eyelet or my loop, whatever we want to call it. I'm going to pull it out, and then I'll do it to the same on the other side, and I just keep going until I've got it all pulled through. Whoops, can't seem to get this one right. I think it's the angle that I'm not paying attention to. There we go. And again, I found that I wanted to make this a little thinner, so I just twist my lace there and kind of make it a little thinner. And now the other thing I want to make sure of is that I'm funny when it comes to my tennis shoes. I like for my laces to match. So I want to make sure that I go over the right way. So on this one, I took from here and I go under. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all did it with your tennis shoes. You had to make sure that the laces matched or whatever. Or when we used to wear something called an Eastland, we had to make sure that the laces matched. So again, I'm just twisting this to make sure it's a little thinner. And then I go over here. And I'm just going to go back and forth, just like lacing a shoelace, my shoes. And I'll do the same to the back. Okay, we've got the laces done, front and back. Now what I want to do is take these buttons off. There's nothing wrong with these buttons. I just think that a white or some other kind of button might be just a little bit better for this particular vest, now that we're changing it up. Always changing something up. I'm leaving the threads there so I know where my buttons are going to go. But when I put my buttons on this time, I'm going to move them in probably a ½ inch. Maybe not a whole ½ inch, but darn close. That way we get a little more out of this, out of the width. This is an easy way to get an extra ½ inch into your clothing. If you've got buttons, you can just change them up this way, and it makes just enough difference. Like I said, there wasn't enough, it wasn't tight enough, I guess, that I needed to take off or add fabric. That's what I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm trying to sew with my hands and talk at the same time, and apparently I'm not good at it. All right, trying to get this just about, like I said, right at a ½ inch away, like that. And I'm just going to pull this up. Put my needle through that thread where that knot is. There are tons of ways to sew a button on. I don't know if there's a right and wrong per se, but there will be people out there that will tell you there is. If that button is hooked on and it's not going anywhere, you're fine. So I'm just going to start sewing this in and out. Give myself a little bit of a new button spot. And sew the rest of them on. I will see y'all when I try this on. And like I said, there's a lot more that you could do if you want to get really fancy. But I'll tell you the truth, most of the time when I'm wearing this stuff out, I'm not looking to be really fancy. I'm just looking to be comfortable and, you know, a little different. Okay, I'm getting this one on, and then I'll have 2 left. That's it. Okay, everybody, we now have our fancier but not over the top vest. So we've got some lacing in the front and a little lacing in the back. Now again, this can be used to actually size things. So if you had a vest that you liked and it's gotten too big, you've lost some weight, or you thrifted one that was too big, you can cinch things up with this. Both in the front, the back, you could do it down the sides. I just wanted to give y'all some ideas, and I like the little ribbon eyelets. It gives you some versatility and color and that kind of thing. So, oh, and don't forget, you can size it with a little bit of movement in the buttons too. So if you enjoyed yourself, by all means, like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will catch y'all on the flip side of our next project.